In today's thrift store challenge, we are talking all things high-end gift giving. We're gonna look at some of our favorite retailers, gift set ideas, and then we're gonna go to the thrift store and see what we can come up with for a whole lot less. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Right around this time, you'll start to see some of our favorite high-end retailers drop these really expensive gift sets. And we can really create these super affordably by shopping secondhand. Usually what I find is that even just purchasing one component from these high-end stores will cost more than the entire gift from the thrift store. For example, baskets at high-end stores can be super expensive, and you can find really great baskets at the thrift store that just need to be cleaned, maybe reshaped a little bit. I love to go in with some Lysol disinfectant spray, and then I will steam and reshape the basket at this point. So for this gift basket idea, we are going to be making a bread making basket. So I always like to line my basket with something rather than buying something new. I have tons of these drop cloths from whenever I'm doing painting projects. Decided to lay one on the inside of our basket. Next up, I always like to add some sort of a wood round, wood tray, wood cutting board. You can find these super easily at the thrift stores, or if that's not your thing, you can always just go to Home Goods. But going to a place like Pottery Barn will have you spending almost $100 when you can find an acacia wood round at Aldi, at the thrift store, for just around $10. And no matter kind of what the theme of your basket may be, starting off with a basket, something to line the basket with, and some sort of a tray option is a great start. Next, I always like to find a book kind of related to what the basket is. So I found this really beautiful bread related book for just $2 at my local thrift shop, the Hartville Thrift Shop. Normally retails for $40. Next thing I wanted to add was some sort of a container for flour now, and then if they want to advance in their bread making journey, they can do so and use this as a sourdough starter. Also, glass mixing bowls. I find these all the time at the Goodwill bins, and because everything is just 49 cents per pound, it becomes super affordable to get all of these glass pieces on a super tight budget. Grabbed some bread flour from my local grocery store. Again, you can kind of tailor this to whatever the basket may be, but this is just one of many examples. Next up, we're going to decant some active dry yeast, just giving them all of the pieces that they can really get started. The last kind of component I like to add is something real. So it could be fresh flowers or a herb of some kind. I found this container at the Hartville Thrift Shop for $1. When I did a little bit of research, it turns out that this stoneware candle is over $100. So I saved the wax, and now I'm just going to place some basil in here. You could also choose to do rosemary, but it makes for just a very full, thoughtful, beautifully displayed gift, but on a super tight budget. You could also tailor this and do kind of like a charcuterie gift basket using some of the pieces that I shared with you earlier. Maybe just switch up the book, switch up the food, obviously, but kind of keep the basics of that theme going. For this example, it's going to be more of kind of like a solo charcuterie situation. So I found this brand new with tags Frigidaire mini cooler that is normally almost $60, and I just paid $4 for it at my local thrift shop. It works perfectly. Now people can use this for a cooler for I think it holds 6 cans of anything, or you can also use it for your skincare. Another thing I found at the Goodwill bins were these little mini gift boxes that had a kind of clear lid at the top. So I just bent them into place, taped it down. Thought it would be such a cute idea to put a little mini charcuterie in that box. The only wine tags that I found at the thrift store though were Halloween related. So I took the top of one of my gift boxes that kind of looked similar and just cut that out instead. Lined my little box with some parchment paper before adding our salami roses and all the cheese, the rosemary, and all of the things. Now you can get your sparkling rosé, champagne, whatever your recipient would really enjoy. Attach our charcuterie wine tag to the top of it. An inexpensive way to kind of liven up any kind of gift idea like this one is through ornaments, and you can find these super affordably at your local thrift shops. Finished it off with some really pretty velvet ribbon that I also found at the thrift store. So not including the wine, for under $10, I think that this is just a really fun, kind of thoughtful gift, perfect for anybody who maybe just turned 21 or is getting married this year, a future bridesmaid. Very fun, thoughtful gift, but done so affordably because we're shopping secondhand. One kind of thing I keep hearing from people in my life is that they're going to really start trying to drink their coffee at home, make their coffee at home. And so what a great idea to help get them started. So for this gift, you'll just need some sort of a caddy. I found this one at the bins. And then at Target's Dollar Spot, they just released these pumps here. Now, I'm not sure what they're supposed to be used for, but I think these would be perfect to add any kind of syrup. You can find really affordable coffee syrups at HomeGoods, at Marshalls for super cheap. So using a funnel, we're just going to fill these up, and you can get really fancy with this and do something on Cricut or just have some labels made. The next thing, of course, we need to add is some really great iced coffee cups. You can go the Dollar Tree route. This is a really great find. I really don't want to give anybody plastic for Christmas, so sticking with glass just gives a more high-end look. Get some little reusable straws. I found these for a few dollars. Also going to add in this little thrifted mixer. Find these all the time at the thrift store, as well as these travel mugs. One was broken, so I just added the one that was not. And when all else fails, just grab a gift card to the coffee shop that they really love. Top it off with a bow, and I think that if you know somebody like I do who likes to drink a lot of iced coffee but really wants to break that habit, this is a great gift idea to do so. So something I've not shared in previous thrifted gift videos is thrifting gifts for kids. And for me, because I have two small kids, this is crucial. So if you are a grandparent, a parent, aunt, uncle, this can also be a really great way to save. Starting off with a nice big basket. This basket was just $1 at my local thrift shop, and I think it was because it was pretty warped. But if it is a seagrass basket, all you simply have to do is get it a little bit damp, so when we're steaming it, I'll kind of reshape the basket and bring it back to life. Now, for a filler for a child, I like to do either a playmat or some sort of a really cozy blanket. I found this blanket from Portugal. When I looked at comps online from the same brand, people were reselling these blankets from anywhere from $50 to $100, and I just paid a few dollars for mine. Now, of course, we're going to wash and dry the blanket and add it to the bottom of our thrifted basket. So again, just with these two pieces, we are off to a great start because they can reuse the basket for toys or whatever, and of course, use the blanket. One really great kind of easy gift idea that is so good for kids, kind of in the Montessori space, is sensory play. So what you'll want to find at the thrift store is a bin that looks like this. They can be plastic, but I prefer to use the wooden ones that have kind of a divider in between them. And then I also like to thrift for little tools for them to use. So I like to personally stick with metal things, no glass, no plastic. But wood is okay too. So if you find those, grab those as well. Now for your filler, what you're gonna hide your things in, we just like to use rice, and you can make colorful rice super easily if you have food dye and hand sanitizer. Grab some gallon Ziploc bags, add the rice, add the color, mix it together, let it dry on parchment paper. My son could barely resist the urge to start playing with it immediately. So the next thing you'll want to do, you can mix the colors together at that point. Grab some sort of like a canvas bag so that they can stick their filler inside. And then I line mine with another Ziploc bag just because you don't want any to slip out through that small little hole there at the top when you cinch it. So fill that up, tie it off, and add it to the other side of your wood bin. When my son was little, he would hide his little baby animals in there, and now that he's learning to read, we'll hide letters in there, and he has to build some of his sight words. So it really is something that can grow with the child. I also like to add these small things to Montessori gifts. I find these very often at thrift stores, and they're usually in perfect condition. I find that they come from these kind of toy subscription sets, and you can make your own toy subscription set if you shop secondhand. You could top it off with a little book, a little stuffed animal. To add some personalization, if you ever find any kind of pennant or bunting, you can always just stencil their name in or their initials, or you can just simply leave it plain and leave it up for the parents to do. and just simply attach it around the basket. So a gift basket like this one, if you were to go to Pottery Barn and buy the big basket with the blanket and then all of the toys inside, this would be a small fortune. But because I shopped secondhand, this gift cost me just over $10. What I've found in the past, I've been doing this for about 3 years for my kids, I find that the gifts that I create and I make like this, my kids are so much more engaged with than something that, say, like I bought on Amazon or Target. Moving along now into some kind of doll gift set ideas for little kids. So if you go to Target, it is a lot more affordable than, let's say, buying an American Girl doll. But you can also find American Girl dolls at the thrift store. And if you don't have luck at the thrift store, you can definitely check Facebook Marketplace. And while I'm at the thrift store, I always just like to check a few things. The first thing is always making sure that the hands and feet are not chewed. I find that sometimes people have donated them because they are. Also make sure that the hair is in fact fixable and that the doll does stand. Easy add-ons for gifts like this are little American Girl doll books. I've seen games based on American Girl doll, as well as, of course, any of the furniture options. Found this little futon here. We're just going to wash that cover and then place it back on. And while I was at an antique shop, I found this super beautiful wicker chest, and they were only asking $12 for it. For the exact same basket that I found online, they're charging almost $100. So you can definitely go the home goods route, but you're going to be spending more than you would, I find, at an antique store. For my daughter, I also found this thrifted Anna dress from Frozen. Now for the American Girl doll clothes, that's something I don't really come across ever at the thrift store. So I did purchase that new from Amazon, decided to put it in this little thrifted purse that we're turning into a suitcase for her. So that is the way we're going to tell our daughter that we will be going to Disney. She loves all things Disney and princess related. She is your typical girly girl. So I know when she gets this gift on Christmas morning, she's going to be super excited. But this is just one of many examples. You can also just do this as kind of like an add-on thing. Now you can go to Pottery Barn and buy their dolls, or you can go to your thrift store. I found this Pottery Barn doll, perfect condition, just needed to be cleaned, and you can just gift that maybe with some clothing or just give a Pottery Barn Kids gift card, so to finish off the gift. But there are so many things that are in like new condition, you don't need to always pay retail. Speaking of which, in the kids space, one kind of category of toy I always find are anything kind of play food related. And this can come in big things like furniture pieces. For example, I found this grill for just $6. It retails for over $150 on Amazon. All of the screws really just needed a good tightening, and then there was one part on the side there that was not included, but I can make something really similar using some scrap wood that I have in my stash, as well as the food was not included. So you can also just buy play food separately, and this would bring the cost down significantly overall for this toy. Another kind of popular play food idea that I've seen recently in high-end stores is felt food, really anything felt. And you can either find this at the thrift store, put it in a cute little gathering basket, or you can just make it yourself, which is what I plan on doing over the next several weeks, just learning how to make it. I've seen several tutorials. It's a matter of just finding felt and embroidery thread at the thrift store and using just like a bigger needle, just following some tutorials online, and this can save also a significant amount of money. Another kind of food-related gift idea are these knife sets that are safe for kids to use. I'll insert some videos of my daughter doing it. But these are a great gift idea if you have little ones who love to help you in the kitchen. This is a really nice gift, and it can be found at your thrift stores. So for each knife, I spent 50 cents, and then I believe these were like 30 cents each. I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be used for, But this was a really great deal on something that I know both of my kids would enjoy. Lastly, don't forget to check for just like add-ons like slime, kinetic sand, Legos. I find Legos all the time at the thrift store, brand new in their packages. And they're just a few dollars, as well as different kinds of puzzles. Found this puzzle here that I know my daughter will really enjoy. And it was probably like 50 cents. On Amazon right now, it's over $15. So just find those opportunities to save where you can. Moving up now to like that teen, tween age, I feel like that is a very tough age to buy for these days. So I like to stick with kind of three things. One of those things is clothing. Brand new with tags is kind of my rule of thumb when it comes to gifting clothing. Now let's talk about shoes. So typically I would say do not gift any used shoes for Christmas, with one exception, and this is that exception, because these UGG slides are super expensive and I paid less than $1 for them. What is nice about these is you can bleach these. They're already white, so now we're just going to bleach them, use a product that I like to use to basically get these to look like they're brand new. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove these little Velcro things, and I'm going to wash them with OxyClean. After pulling them out of the washer, I would say they were like 75% there. So I wasn't still crazy about how the bottom looked. So for that, I like to use these, I think they're called shoe erasers, and they work really well on the soles of shoes. For the straps, I still was not crazy about how those came out. So one thing I like to always try is just soaking those in some OxyClean. So I was not impressed with how these cleaned up. I feel like they still look used, like really used. So I'm going to forego this part. What's nice about those UGG slides is it doesn't necessarily need these straps. So if you can get the shoes to look almost perfectly clean, and you just have to maybe like omit one part of it, but they're still very wearable, comfortable slides, then I definitely recommend shopping secondhand because you can save a ton of money in the process. Other things you can add, anything brand new in a package, like a candle or any sort of little accessory that you think the recipient would enjoy, always makes for a good add-on. Or if all else fails, again, just add a gift card. Now, because I didn't have to spend, $135 on the UGG slides and the Zara dress, I can add more to that gift card, and it just stretches your dollars that much farther. Same deal for my little brother. I found this Abercrombie & Fitch, brand new with tags, $60 retail. I found it for maybe $1 at the Goodwill bins. Big history buff, found this history book for just 50 cents. And to top it off, I found these Jabra headphones at the thrift store at the Goodwill bins for less than $1. They retail for almost $100. I think they're more meant for people who work from home, but I looked in the comments and turns out people use these for gaming, and he is in fact a gamer. So this gift cost less than $5. Now I can buy him an Xbox whatever gift card, and I think that it just, again, makes that dollar go farther. Kind of more in the adult space, another thing that I hear often once the new year starts is everybody wants to lose weight, everybody wants to be more organized, and you can definitely find great organizational pieces at the thrift store. You just have to do a little bit of digging. So I found this really beautiful, kind of longer, shallow basket, which is perfect for like office organization. I spent less than $1 on it. And this is kind of going to be the container for our gift. So we can add in a coffee table book. I found this one for just $2 at my local thrift shop. If you really care to have the leather bound version, it is over $150 from Pottery Barn. Or you can go the Amazon route and still spend the $35, but I would just rather always save where I can. Now I also found these. Now I know they're not, the top of the line AirPods, but there's people in your life that don't necessarily care about having something super techie and specific. So if you find pieces like that for the right kind of person, I think it's one way you can really save a ton in the process. If you yourself or know somebody who is a lover of Joanna Gaines, Magnolia, Hearth and Hand, this next gift idea is for you. This Magnolia basket here, now it was pretty damaged in one corner, but I do want to make you guys maybe aware that just because it's damaged in one small area, if the rest of the basket is in pretty good shape, it really can be a quick and easy fix. And this basket was just a little over $5 and would retail on Magnolia for almost $60. Starting off with the first little repair, which was just to simply reattach this Magnolia logo onto the front of the basket using some twine I had on hand. Now, for the remainder of the basket, what I like to do, because I think it's really hard to kind of match different seagrass materials, woven materials, so I just like to take sections from the basket that are kind of inconspicuous and don't really affect the utility of the basket. So in this case, I took 3 threads from the bottom, just kind of spread out, so then that way I could attach them to where they were needed, which was obviously to this front corner here. Now, it's not a perfect solution, but if you're giving it as a gift, you of course want to make sure that the modifications that you're making are good and sturdy. Once the basket was fixed, we want to add something to line the basket. So I ended up finding this really beautiful West Elm blankets at the bottom of the bins, decided to just line this Magnolia basket inside of here. I would just always rather use some sort of a fabric or something that they can reuse versus just using decorative shred that 100% is going in the garbage. Again, now we're gonna add a book. Found this homebody book at my local thrift shop for just $2, and then I found her smaller book, The Magnolia Story, for just 50 cents at the bins. Next up, I always like to add some sort of greenery. Now this can be just in the form of a bundle like this or even a faux floral arrangement. So I love this one that is about to drop on October 7th through the Hearth and Hand line, but you can also just recreate this from things that you might not be using this year. I actually checked out a new Goodwill, and while I probably won't go back just because some of the things I felt were a bit overpriced, one thing I did like about this Goodwill is any of the half off tags were all in one place to shop at. So it did make it really easy to find the things that then would be 50% off. For example, I found this vase here that was tagged for $2.50, but I actually got it for just $1.25 because again, it was half off. Just really needed to give it a good clean. And then with the vase all cleaned off now, what was nice is it already had the styrofoam ready for faux florals. And I was going to donate this pine wreath that I had thrifted last year, if you guys remember. But rather than just donate it, I thought I would just repurpose those picks and add them to this vase here. Ended up using about 7 or 8 of these picks here, as well as just added these little red berry-like stems that I found in my stash just to give it a really fun, festive look. The next little thing I like to add to my gift baskets is something that involves scent. So this can either be a candle or a simmer pot or some sort of potpourri mix. But in this case, I saw that Magnolia was selling these simmer pot mixes for $40. You can essentially do this for free if you have all of these kind of staple items in your pantry and in your refrigerator. Just taking a quick glance at what specifically is added to these simmer pots just to make sure that I had everything, and thankfully I already did. For the container, you can use anything, a mason jar, an old spaghetti jar. In this case, I had thrifted this candle, I had burned it down to the bottom, and then I just froze it to remove the wax easily. Cleaned it off, and now we have our container for our simmer pot mix. So first up on our list is clove. I bought this clove last year and I still have so much left over. A little bit of clove goes a long way. Next up was cinnamon. So if you don't have the cinnamon sticks like I'm showing here, you could just use ground cinnamon here, but I find these all the time brand new at the Goodwill bins. In addition to that, I had some rosemary, so I placed that in there. For the dried orange slices, you can buy this at like Home Goods for really affordably, or you could just make it for free, which is what I'm showing here. It takes a few hours, but it's a matter of just cutting them and then kind of turning them over every hour or so. Placed our little lid on top of here, and then I just wanted to add some sort of a label, and I find these as well all of the time at the Goodwill bins, but it's usually that they have kind of taken the most common ingredients off, so like the sugar's gone, the flour's gone, but all of these other kind of random labels are still there. So every now and then I'll find one that I can use in a gift giving idea, so I just placed this one that said all natural because it is, and we are just going to stick that on there somewhat like contact paper, just placing one side down and then working in a diagonal motion. I really love using these mixes even for myself because I think they just have so much more throw than any candle does. It makes your house smell so good, and you can burn them for up to a week's time. The last little add-on I like to generally do is some sort of an ornament. So I went on Magnolia's website, looked at some of the ornaments that she came out with for this year, and they are seriously some of my favorites. Unfortunately, at the thrift store, I didn't find a whole box of silver ornaments that looked like that, but I did find this box that had kind of these multi-colors here. Now, I am probably going to alter the colors that are just a bit more vibrant than I prefer, but I am going to take the silver ones and use those for our little DIY ornament, using some twine, just making sure to leave an opening at the top to place on the tree. And that really wraps it up for our little DIY ornament idea. If I were to find all of the same or similar pieces through Magnolia, I would be spending over $200 on this gift. But by shopping secondhand, you're able to give a really full and substantial gift for under $15. This style of a gift is perfect for newlyweds, maybe somebody who bought their first home or has lived on their own for the first time. Definitely a great start for the upcoming year with a gift basket like this one. So one kind of funny thing always seems to happen every time I go to Anthropologie, and it just happened a few days ago when I was there. There always is like at least one guy kind of shopping around there, needing help. The sales associate's walking around showing him all these really beautiful but expensive things, and he just buys it. He just accepts the price and he buys it. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you can't ever buy a gift from Anthropologie, but what I am saying is if you want to give a really thoughtful gift, there are so many ways to do that that do not involve spending an insane amount of money. And even if you go on Anthropologie's website, they have almost these like gift sets just kind of wrapped in a bow, perfectly packaged, but we can do this for a whole lot less going the thrifted route. So from the thrift store, we'll grab a basket, and you just want to make sure that your basket is going to be big enough to put all of the pieces inside. Next up, we're going to need a cookbook, and we're not going to spend $30 or $40 from Anthropologie. We'll spend more like 50 cents from the Goodwill bins. Find a recipe in that book that you can kind of put a lot of the non-perishable items just really beautifully packaged, so that way you're giving them all of kind of the ingredients for that meal to be made. Also, then we'll need to grab some cooking accessories like the box shows here, but not from Anthropologie. We're not going to spend $22. We're going to spend like $2. These are brand new, never used, and definitely give a kind of Anthropologie look. A couple of variations to this would be, instead of a basket, you could do like a casserole dish for the meal, or if you didn't want to buy a book but you make like the best cookies or the best banana bread, give the recipe with the ingredients instead. I just added in this little thrifted napkin from Hobby Lobby. Another really common gift I think people give from Anthropologie are some of their candles, and their candles are beautiful. They smell so good. Now, I found this Volume Spa candle, which is the same company that I think Anthropologie uses for some of their candles, but it doesn't say that it is from Anthropologie. But it was brand new, of course, with tags, originally priced at $24. Also grabbed this really cute thrifted wood box, just had one little notch taken out of the top there, so we're just gonna shade that in. And whenever you're giving the gift of a candle, I like to give a couple little inexpensive add-ons, so matches, a candle snuffer, wick trimmers, all of those kind of little things. Just make it feel like a really full, thoughtful gift. And you can also just thrift or DIY some of the components that go with the gift. So for a match striker, for example, I've made so many of these you guys have seen in the past. It's really simple. Just grab a little section from the striker part and attach it to either the back or the bottom of whatever container you'd like to use. Of course, just add your matches. It's just, again, a really thoughtful way to display your gift. So let's do a little McGee Co gift set idea for the holidays. So I do want to preface this by saying you want to make sure that you really know the person that you're gifting this to. There's a lot of people in my life who would not appreciate the primitiveness of this tray. They would think I was giving them just something old and crusty. But there's a few people who I know would love the rusticity of this caddy here and appreciate the age to it. So when I found this caddy at the bins, the bottom had become unattached from the caddy. So I did have to reattach those, and I just used some little finishing nails to just reattach that bottom piece all throughout. And now it's just time for a good clean. Starts off always with a good dusting for me, and then I like to use a disinfectant spray just to kind of wipe the whole thing down. Caddies can be used in a million and one ways, but for this gift idea, I thought it would be really nice for like a wine gift basket. So to start, I found these really, really beautiful ribbed wine glasses that look like something you would find from McGee Co, but these were just about $1.50 for 4 of them. Something similar on McGee Co would be almost $40. So a major savings there, and a really easy pairing when you're giving any kind of glassware gift is of course coasters. And I had thrifted that huge box, if you guys remember, of travertine coasters, and I had 4 left over. So I'm just going to use these, add some felt pads to the bottom, and just wrap them in some twine. Just a really kind of no-brainer accompaniment for a gift like this one. Another thing I always seemingly find at the thrift store are these little velvet bags, and I believe that these are usually used for different liquors. I don't pick them up if they have any writing on them, but this one was just nice and plain in this beautiful burgundy velvet color. So I decided I'll put the recipient's favorite wine inside of here. The finishing off piece is just going to be a small little picture frame ornament. And this is really something you can DIY with any small picture frame that you might find at Dollar Tree or at the thrift store, and then just simply attaching some ribbon to the back of it. You could just place the recipient's name in here, almost using it like a kind of jumbo gift tag, or just a picture of the two of you in there. But I think this makes for a very thoughtful and complete gift idea, but was super affordable because every single piece here came from the Goodwill bins. Kind of a similar idea to that is making a Martini gift box set. High-end retailers, you'll be spending a fortune getting all of these components, but if you shop secondhand, you can save a ton. So grab a gift box for just a few cents, grab some sort of fabric from the thrift store. Doing this just really gives a nice backdrop to your presentation. So one thing you can always find at the Goodwill, or especially at the bins, is really high quality glassware that just really needs a good clean and polish. So I found this set of 2 Martini glasses, as well as this shaker from Aldi, added a bottle of the recipient's favorite gin, and then just kind of spiced it up with some ornaments that I found at the Goodwill bins. And I think this presentation looks really luxurious and high-end, but was so affordable because most of it came from the thrift store. A similar concept is to make a wine box or basket. Again, taking one of those 20-cent gift boxes with some thrifted fabric. I'm going to layer in some pieces that I found. So I found this tray at Aldi for $2.99, and then I also found these wine glasses that were only $8.99. And this just creates a nice base for what the big part of this present will be, which will be a gift card to a winery. You could, of course, do a nice book about wine or a nice bottle of wine, but I think doing this just kind of sets the tone for what the present will be in an affordable way. Another area to check in your thrift stores, if you're interested in saving a little bit of money on gifting, but you still want to give a really high quality gift, is to check your thrift store's book section. So for example, if you want to give some chocolates as a gift, you can add a book about chocolate, maybe add in a really beautiful cutting board. I found this one at the Goodwill bins for $1.19. I just simply removed that book sleeve and then added some chocolates from the grocery store, tied some pretty twine around it, taking some of the stems from the pick that I found at the Goodwill bins and just kind of tying that off there. Again, just adding to that presentation. Also at the Goodwill bins, I found this extra wide gift bag that was brand new, so I just layered in the book set as well as a candle and some hand soap from Bath & Body Works, and that really can kind of complete that gift. No matter which book you choose from the thrift store, a really simple but thoughtful pairing is to make or add a bookmark. So last year I shared with you guys how I made these 3 leather bookmarks using an old leather belt, and using some thrifted wrapping paper makes for a really thoughtful but beautiful gift. Next up, I want to talk about clothing and gifting clothing from the thrift store. So everyone's comfort level can be a little bit different, but for me, in order to give it as a gift, it does have to come brand new with tags. And I would say that that's kind of hard to come across, but more often than not, I can at least find one or two things that are brand new with tags that I think someone in my life during this holiday season would truthfully enjoy. I've shared with you guys this in the past where I found this Lulu's dress that I could have bought on their website, but I ended up finding at the Goodwill. Now, my sister's a little bit taller than me, so I ended up gifting this to her. But most recently, I found this really beautiful Victoria's Secret robe that originally retailed for just under $70. So again, taking one of those thrifted 20-cent boxes, I had 4 of them total, so I tried to use them strategically. Added a beautiful brand new towel from Ross, as well as some other bathroom accessories along with the robe. I also found this really beautiful tea towel that was brand new and added some Bath & Body Works soap. And it really just complements the entire gift. Everything feels very thought out and purposeful. In addition to a kind of bathroom or spa-like gift idea, last year I made this kind of bath caddy that I just made using some scrap wood in my garage. I will link the full tutorial of this video in the description box below, but basically I cut my scrap pieces of woods down to the appropriate size for a bathtub, and then I secured everything with wood glue and some screws from the bottom, and then I added pre-stain, and then I stained it in this beautiful walnut color. This was inspired by something I saw on West Elm. Gifting that box with the robe and the towel and all of the accessories plus something like this would make for a really full and thoughtful gift idea. Next up, we are going to make a gift for the coffee lovers in our lives. So there's so many different ways you could do this kind of a gift, but I started out with taking this blanket here. I find this blanket at the thrift store and at the Goodwill bins so often, and I think A, it just looks better than that decorative shred, and B, they can reuse it after the fact. I ended up finding this Starbucks travel mug at the Goodwill bins that was brand new, so decided to add that to this gift box as well as a mug. So I find Pottery Barn mugs, I find Starbucks mugs pretty often at the thrift store, so I ended up choosing this one here that was just 30 cents at my local thrift shop, the Hartville Thrift Shop, and I think this was looking great, but I wanted to add something over top of the Hearth and Hand oven mitt. So I went to Walmart, grabbed some Starbucks coffee, just tied a pretty bow with twine, and then added some stems from that same pick that I found at the bins before. Add a little Starbucks gift card, and that really wraps up this present. In addition to that, you can also grab some placemats. These ones came from Threshold from Target that were $5 a piece, and I paid 25 cents for each of them. Grab a cookie tray from the thrift store. I found this one at the Goodwill. It was brand new with tags, originally from Home Goods for $26, and I just layered in some cookies that I picked up from the grocery store, and I think that the coffee gift and the cookie gift paired together would make for a really beautiful idea. The next kind of like foodie gift idea is to make dinner in a basket. So you can obviously do this using your high-end pieces, but I prefer to use things from the thrift store. So I found this canister here for just $1, decided to fill it with some angel hair. To place now the pasta and all of the other thrifted decorative accessories, we're going to do a basket this time. So I found this basket last year. I just vacuumed it out and sprayed it with some disinfectant. And then to start that layering piece, again, you can go to Pottery Barn and spend $59, or again, I found this one at the thrift store for $4. So I just layered it at the bottom before placing all of the pieces inside. So added a bottle of wine, grabbed a thrifted leather planter with some herbs inside of there, added some nice bread and cheese as well. And also at the thrift store, I found this brand new corkscrew that was originally from Kohl's for just $2. It fits in with our Christmas theme here. The only thing I think I should have added to this that I did not was some really nice sauce for the pasta, so you could do store-bought or make it from scratch, but I think that would also be a nice addition. Something else I think would make a really beautiful addition is to grab a container from the thrift store. This one was brand new with tags from IKEA originally for $2 though, and to make some infused olive oil. I love this as a gift idea. Williams-Sonoma carries something really similar to this, and it's about $50. So if you can make this for a whole lot less, add it to your dinner in a basket, I think it would be very well received. A gift that I think always goes over smoothly for just about anybody is gifting a candle. And you can oftentimes at the thrift store find brand new candles that smell really amazing for so much more affordably than anything you would find at a high-end store. For example, I found these really beautiful candles at the bins and I just wrapped them with some wax paper, tied some twine around it. You can of course gift this with some candle holders. I also found this crystal mistletoe ornament that I thought was so beautiful. It tied in with those crystal nutcrackers that I also found at the bins, tied it to a cutting board. Again, I found this gift bag that was a really unique shape at the thrift store. And then I just layered in all of these thrifted pieces for my neighbor who definitely loves a more kind of traditional Christmas. Last year, I shared with you guys how to make these ornament candles. I found 2 of these at the thrift store for $2 a piece. I melted down some Dollar Tree candles, added that wax to now this ornament candle, cut down the wick, and it is a really affordable way to kind of get that high-end look, but was so budget friendly. The takeaway here is basically just find a candle that you like. Maybe you really love this Hearth and Hand ribbed container, you love the scent. Look for something similar to that at the thrift store, at the Goodwill bins. Maybe grab a little glass container, fill it with matches, or you could even do this with wood bowls. Wood bowls from high-end stores are so overpriced, so much more expensive than they need to be, and you can find really beautiful wood bowls at the thrift store. And if you've kind of outgrown maybe one of your wooden bowls or the bottom is really scratched up, I would just recommend turning that into a candle. Or in this case, I found this one and I turned it into a succulent planter. Pottery Barn sells these bowls that have succulents inside of them for a small fortune, and you can definitely recreate this so much more affordably. You can gift this with a plant mister or a watering can, and I think that that would make a really thoughtful gift idea as well. But if you don't find a box, like a gift box or a basket, try looking at the trays. And sometimes you can find really beautiful brand new trays for so affordably. I found this one for just $2, grabbed this olive tree last year for just about $4, and this candle for a couple bucks that was brand new from the thrift store, added in a thrifted book, and you can create this really beautiful and aesthetic gift for just about $10. A small scale piece of furniture that I always seemingly find at the thrift store are magazine holders. So I ended up finding this one. That one small part was broken, so I just had to fix that part quickly. I also found this little memorabilia box that was brand new and never used. And gifting those 2 pieces with either someone's favorite magazine or a subscription to someone's favorite magazine is a really thoughtful gift. Speaking of thoughtful gifts, some of you might remember last year I found this Burlwood box and I added my dad's favorite cologne and his favorite chocolates inside of that Burlwood box, and it was just a nice presentation for a gift instead of like a cheap gift box. As some of you know, my dad passed away this past June, and one thing when we were going through his things that was nice to see was, I didn't include this in that video, but I also had gifted him this notebook as well as one of those bookmarks, and I was happy to see that he was actively using that notebook I had sent. So now for my little brother, I had found this box here, and it is like a kind of memorabilia style of a box, and it was $40 originally, and I paid just $2 for it at the Hartville thrift shop. And I thought it would be nice for my brother to have some things inside of this box that remind him of our dad. So I decided to just place a picture of all of us from when they came out to visit us in Scottsdale and just placed it in the top. And then inside of the box, when my sister and I went to pick up my dad's things, we wanted to then give kind of like from my dad, which was his wallet. So it of course had a picture of my little brother as well as all of the cash that he had on him that day. We also wanted to give him a pair of our dad's glasses, as well as some other little accessories that we found that he might find useful and sentimental. Another gift that could be really sentimental, especially if you've lost someone in your family, is to make some sort of an ornament that really honors them, or you could just make some really beautiful ornaments, gift them as a set. People really enjoy this as a gift, especially if you take the time to cut out the pictures and get it all ready for them. I think they're much more likely to use it in the future. Another thoughtful gift idea would be to gift someone a stocking with a lot of little goodies inside of there. So you can oftentimes find really beautiful stockings, especially if you just need to find one that's really good. That's a lot easier to do than if you find like a set of 2, 4, 6, whatever it may be. So I actually did like a mix and match this year for my stockings, which I've really been loving lately. I also recently came across a brand new with tags Pottery Barn stocking. The only problem with it though was that it was already monogrammed. But the thrift store really does have so many options to choose from, so I definitely recommend checking it out to see what you can come across. And then of course for the actual stuffing inside of there, the gifts that you can put inside of your stocking. So I always keep my eyes out at the thrift store for these little pieces that can just kind of finish off a gift or could be filled in stockings. So like Play-Doh, slime, crayons, bubbles, all of those kinds of little things, if you buy them from even the dollar store, will always be more expensive than something you can find at the Goodwill bins or at your thrift store. For more of like the tween age, because I feel like that age is really tough to buy for, if you find like little clutches, little purses, little accessories for their phone, all of that stuff I find all the time brand new with tags at the thrift store. If nothing else, I want to recommend buying all of your wrapping paper, your gift bags, your gift accessories, tags, boxes, all of that stuff from the thrift store, because it's going to be so much more affordable than anything you will find at a big box store. A question I get asked from you guys is, how do I store everything? So one hack I saw on TikTok is to take like a laundry hamper or a caddy on wheels, and I just got this one at the thrift store. It was $4. I just washed that insert and then steamed it, and now I have a system to kind of place all of my wrapping paper, gift boxes, accessories in this caddy system. You can find really high quality wrapping paper if you just do a little bit of digging for such an affordable price point, and that includes gift boxes as well. Gift boxes, even at places like the Dollar Tree, will be more expensive than anything you'll ever find secondhand, and oftentimes these are brand new. For placing all of my thrifted gift bags, this specific caddy didn't have any hooks on it, so I just grabbed an S hook from my stash and I just placed it on the back of the laundry caddy, so that way I would be able to hang all of the gift bags that I find throughout the course of the season. Another thing I wanted to place on here were cards and gift tags at the top, because that usually kind of finishes off the present. Of course, all of the thrifted ribbon that I come across, as well as bows that I find in the bins. Another thing I find in the bins is really beautiful picks that kind of just add that little extra decorative detail to presents, and also brand new with tags ornaments are always a nice addition to any present. However, in a recent Dollar Tree video, if you're not somebody who is interested in using traditional wrapping paper and you want to be a little bit more sustainable this year, one thing you can use if you find these at the Dollar Tree or even at your thrift stores are placemats. If you just simply open up the front and back of the placemat, just create your own gift bag, creating just a little pocket for whatever ribbon or twine you want to kind of thread through there, and then now you have a reusable gift bag. Even from Amazon, this can be, I think, just a little bit more than you want to spend. If you want to give somebody 5 gifts, you have to spend $50 just to wrap it. Is a little bit pricey. So if you can find a set of placemats that are maybe Christmas specific, you want to give all of those, you could probably spend about $5 doing it this way by shopping secondhand. In addition to placemats, you can also just use fabric from the Dollar Tree, fabric from the thrift store. You can find really beautiful kind of chic fabric on a budget. You don't necessarily need to go to Hobby Lobby and get yards and yards and yards of fabric. You often just need a little bit. So shopping secondhand, you're able to do that, or even just the Dollar Tree. You can create a very luxurious gift shopping only Dollar Tree, and then you can just add a Sephora gift card, an Ulta gift card. Makes the gift just go that much farther because you're saving in other areas. With all that being said, that really wraps it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video gave you guys some fun and different ideas on gift giving this holiday season, and that it can be done so affordably if you start now and shop secondhand. I hope everybody has an amazing week, and I will see you back here next Sunday. Bye for now.